Welcome to another episode of the Enlisted podcast. My name is Antonio Talamo.
And my name is Casey Coleman, and we are here today to talk about all things as seen on TV.
Yeah, this is a really fun topic that Casey and I thought about that we sometimes have talked about. I remember we just talk about like random gadgets, random things. And so today we are going to mention the top 5 as seen on TV products that you've always wanted. And I know, Casey, I love gadgets. I love anything that can make my life slightly easier. Those infomercials, I can tell you right now, are definitely designed for me.
I know you are a gadget guy, and I can always count on you. You're always telling me about something that I need to have or that I should get, and you're usually right. And I'm pretty stubborn sometimes. I drag my feet, definitely. You'll be like, oh, yeah, get an air fryer. And then a year and a half passes by, and I get one. I'm like, oh, I just got an air fryer. It's amazing. And you're like, yeah, I know. I told you. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and I know sometimes you've come to my house and you like look around because we always have like the coolest little things that make life easier. I remember you, and it's not an SNO TV product, but I remember you looked under our sink where we keep our pots and pans, and you saw that we had some sort of like lid organizer.
Yeah, like you are living your best life.
No, I definitely am. I love those things. I know my wife hates it because she's like, you don't need more junk to, but I'm like, yes, we do. We do need more stuff to make other stuff easier.
I totally agree. It's hard to be a person right now, so I'm all about simplicity. We about probably a year ago got an electric wine opener, and it's a game changer. I can still use a corkscrew, but there's just something so fun about the simplicity of it. You just press a button and you get to just live your best.
Well, and those are so cool. I remember I learned this at when I came over your aunt's house for dinner, where there was like an electric salt shaker. Then I'm like, I didn't know I
Yes,
needed that.
exactly. And I mean, it's wild, right? Because I remember that one. It had probably like 12 batteries in it, like absolutely ridiculous, but just yeah, I don't know. It's like one of those things you see it and you're like, I never thought about that. And I think, today we're definitely going to talk about some things that are, are they necessary? Who knows? But that's what the joy of as seen on TV products were. It was like you'd watch a commercial and you'd just be enthralled at what was going on.
The infomercials to me is what America is all about
I could not agree more.
because it's just first of all they're dramatic, right? It's usually like white people like suddenly forgetting how to crack eggs the right way
Yes, or yeah,
or like
tripping,
trip up.
falling down, and you're like, okay, like it's not that hard to tie your shoes, but yeah, maybe I do need that electronic shoe tire thing.
Yeah, and you don't. And I always say like infomercials to me are essentially like the Marshalls of shopping. Like you don't go to Marshalls because you need something.
Yes, Marshalls tells you what you need.
Exactly. And these infomercials will always tell you. And my favorite part about infomercials, and I don't know if you agree with this, is when they go, but wait, there's more. And you just freak out because you're like, how can there be more?
Yes, or like what would you pair with this? I think there's a lot of good things that I miss about infomercials. I think streaming sometimes you don't get to see commercials to see what's going on. But I think you're right. It's usually normally white people floundering with some sort of very menial task. And I think most infomercials are sort of built on, there are always these things that you can totally live without them, but then once you see them, you can't be unconscious of it. You're like, oh, the egg example you brought up, it's like, oh yeah, like, do I need that? No, but you know about it now, and you're like, huh.
Yeah, I think my favorite part is like also when they have the spokespeople, like
Yes,
the greatest spokespeople who would like throw it in your face. Like I remember like Billy Mays, rest in peace, who would OxyClean. Do you remember as a kid going like, I don't do the laundry, but like I would definitely would
yes,
love some OxyClean to clean stuff.
yes. Well, and it was the fascinating thing because it would be, he'd be washing the clothes in like an open vat, see-through vat of like Coca-Cola, but he would throw in the OxyClean and it would make them cleaner. And it was like, first of all, just brilliant, right? Like
Who's throwing their clothes in Coca-Cola?
I don't know, but if you do, there's a product for
There's
you.
a product for it. It's so true. Also, he had a classic beard.
Oh, I know. It's very lumberjack-esque. I always think about the different television personalities, and some of them, now that you say it, sort of had that sort of father-esque, extremely hyper masculine sort of product that was like, you need to have this, call now.
Yeah, and let me say this, if you have daddy issues, you are likely watching infomercials much more because you so
Yeah.
badly wanted Billy Mays to be your father. And you know what's crazy? It's like a lot of these spokespeople, like they kind of went crazy. Like I know Billy Mays.
Yeah, they kind of died tragically, or
Yeah, I
like,
mean
yeah.
if you look online, like it does say that he like died of an overdose. Some people say it was like cocaine, but maybe it was like just like over the counter medication, which are dangerous. Do you remember Vance from ShamWow?
Yes, he would have that Britney Spears microphone.
Yeah, the yoga microphone, which I'm like, you
Yes.
don't need that. You're on TV. Like, I don't understand
Yeah.
why that's a thing. And he was like snarty, like, and he
Snarty. What is
is that a word?
snarty?
Um, I imagine snarty to be someone who's snotty,
But
and I don't know. I just mean someone who had like attitude.
okay.
Yeah, and I don't know. I've never used the word snarty until
That's
today, but
okay. It's maybe it'll start trending beyond this.
yeah, hashtag snarty. But yeah, he was like, he made you feel bad about yourself. But you're like, but ShamWow absorbed, talking about Coca-Cola, it would absorb like a bowl of Coca-Cola. And I'm like, yeah, I've definitely spilled it. I spilled that much
Yeah.
before.
Yeah. I mean, they should really use ShamWow for like FEMA relief, because I feel like they talk about it being able to absorb like tons and tons and tons more than what it can hold. So, maybe that's what the government needs to improve upon some things here.
Well, and it's funny, right? Because I was on their website when I was doing research for this.
Uh-huh.
And it turns out they have ShamWow masks, which apparently are made from like the same material as like K95 masks.
Interesting. I don't know that I would want my mask to absorb everything coming in or out. Seems a little bit counterintuitive.
But it does absorb really well, I guess.
But
I
wouldn't
mean,
that just absorb the germs? I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I just know that you would have ShamWow on your mask the entire time.
Interesting. I don't know that that's for me, but it would probably let me down, as I think many products sometimes do, right? It was like the commercial made it so exciting, and then it would come to you, 6 weeks later, 8 weeks later. Antonio, were you ever let down by a purchase?
I once remember seeing this. There was this one product, and it's still out there. It was like a toothpaste dispenser that you would like hang up on your wall, and then you'd put your little toothpaste in it, and then you'd put the toothbrush right up against it, and it would like pour out like the perfect little speck, and it would like use up the entire like. It was unnecessary. Like in retrospect, it was stupid, but it didn't work
It
well.
was just a toothpaste dispenser?
Yes, I know. You could just use your hands. I know. But I was a messy, like there are two types of people in this world. There are the people who will use it, squeeze it from the bottom,
Yes, that's me.
or just squeeze it from wherever place it's going to come out. And that's me.
You're a savage animal, my friend.
But anyways, it sucked. Like it didn't work. You would press it and it would make it more messy. It was just so dumb.
How would the toothpaste get into the dispenser? Would you have to squeeze out the toothpaste into another
No, no,
dispenser?
no, no. It was more like it, like hand sanitizer, those automatic
Yes,
dispensers.
but there's a bag of it in there.
But like exactly. So it's basically you put the toothpaste in there and then somehow when you press the button it would squeeze it for you from whatever. I don't know. It was dumb,
Interesting.
but it definitely was not worth it.
Interesting. I can definitely relate to being let down by a purchase. I remember as a kid, I so desperately wanted, it was called Marvin's Magic Artboard. And it was this like essentially kind of like just a tablet-esque shaped thing. Like it was like a doodle pad, but it was meant to be like, you could use the little tool it came with, and it would write in different colors. And it was just sort of like this big rainbow coloring board that was no mess. And of course, I wanted it. I had this dream of being an artist as a kid. And my parents, they bought me every crayon under the sun, markers, paint. They really did support me, no matter what my wishes were. And I was like, I'm going to be an artist, and I have to have Marvin's Magic Artboard.
Sounds fun.
And yeah, it looked amazing in the videos, but guess what? It didn't work. It was like you would color on the board, but then when you would try to erase it, you were really just smearing the color back and forth. So you couldn't really erase the whole thing. So I remember being a kid and a young boy with, probably too much energy. I wanted to know why this was happening. So I cut a hole in it. And that was definitely not how it's supposed to be used. And so it stopped working. And like a fool, rather than own up to my parents that I like ruined this thing that they just bought me, I like covered it up with a sticker.
Stop.
Yeah,
That is such a
not
Casey thing to do.
exactly. Well, I couldn't use tape because I would have to ask for tape. The tape was always like out of reach as a kid. And so couldn't ask for tape because then be like, what do you need tape for? And then it was like, so I just used stickers to cover it up, and it just kind of oozed this weird goopy pus almost. And
Ew.
it was a short-lived product for
I'm
me.
sure that all our listeners right now are just loving the vision of pus-like material coming out of what started out to be a really sweet story.
Yeah. Well, as seen on TV products, right? They're not all they're cracked up to be at times. But you know what also gets me about as seen on TV products, Antonio?
What's that?
The name of the product.
They are the names are like the best part.
Yeah, sometimes it almost makes me wonder, like, I want to be in the room where someone was like, what came first? Was it the product name or the product? Had to be kind of catchy at times. All right, Antonio, we're going to play a little game. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so I am going to give you a couple I've seen on TV products. You have to spot the fake.
Okay, so some of these are not real.
Correct. So I will give
Okay.
you a couple products and you have to tell me which one is not real. All
Okay.
right. So the first product I have for you, it's called Shoe Economy, and it is a vertical shoe organizer. Our
Okay.
second product is what is called Tater Mitts, which are dishwashing gloves. And then I think you'll get this one, but this last product I delved up is called Press Toothpaste, and it is a hands-free toothpaste dispenser.
Okay, so and that's the one I talked about. It
It
failed me.
definitely is. I
It
know.
failed me. So it's definitely not that one. Okay, so a little bit, I'm cheating a little bit, but I do know that tater mitts are a thing only because I really hate peeling potatoes. And I
Uh,
know those are meant. So the shoe economy, I think, is that what it's called?
yes,
Although
that
that seems like the most likable, the one that makes the most sense.
of
I feel
course.
like that's the fake one.
Yeah, it is the fake one. I made that one up. But yes, the tater mitts are these dishwashing gloves that essentially they have like almost like a porous or kind of gravelly texture to them, and they're meant for sort of, I guess, peeling potatoes or washing fruits and vegetables with tough skin. How much you would need them, I'm not really sure. But if you are eating potatoes every single day, then maybe you do need them.
Fun fact, in college, I had the nickname of Tater Tony, but
It sounds like
I
a
don't.
story for a different day.
That's a story for a
I
different day.
Tater
I just love
Tony.
potatoes, and I think that's why I wanted those mitts so
Wow.
badly.
Speaking of potatoes, also story for another day. In fourth grade, I gave up potatoes for Lent. Um,
Can you talk
and
for anybody that doesn't do Lent? Can you explain what that is?
Sure. So, first and foremost, I went to Catholic school for 12 years, which I'm sure times will come up on this podcast because I now having a master's in education, I learned a lot about my schooling and how some of what I was taught was probably not accurate.
I have
Um,
said out loud before that I do not believe he actually went to a real school.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you at times, but yes. So Lent is it's a 40-day period from Ash Wednesday all the way up to Easter, covering.
Good Friday.
Yes, yeah, yeah, correct. I'm talking about Jesus, and it's a very holy time in the Catholic Church, and many people will commonly give something up, and sweets, whatever. And I, being the potato boy that I was, the little tater tot, I gave up potatoes because I thought it would make me closer to God. And again, story for a different day. But yes, I would like to do one more round with you, sir, if that's all right.
That's funny. Yeah, I love how I'm not gonna go into it too much, but it's like the fact that you chose potatoes, and that would be the thing that would make you closer to God if you just stopped eating French fries. And it's
Yes.
just that specific. I just think just knowing you, I think that makes it hysterical. So
So, all right, three more products for you. So I had got the 1 second slicer, which I think is self-explanatory. Then we have
okay,
the Huggle, which is a hooded blanket. and then the hover cover, which is a microwavable safe dish. Which one do you think is fake?
Okay. These all sound like they're unnecessary.
Well, that isn't that the nature of the game of an as seen on TV
Yeah.
product.
Yeah, is it the 1 second slicer? I
So
don't know. I don't what are you slicing in 1 second? Why does it have to be 1 second?
yeah, so I actually tricked you. These are actually all real.
No.
Yes. So the Huggle is a hooded blanket, which I have a feeling we'll talk about blankets later on in this podcast, so I will leave that be. But yeah, the 1 second slicer is almost like a slap chop, but not a slap chop, not a magic bullet, but just meant to be. I think you really just press it and it slices some stuff, almost like a guillotine. But again, you're not cutting much in 1 second. And then the hover cover, which was I couldn't believe it was real. It's this weird, it seems to almost be like a magnetic microwavable safe dish that is totally, in my opinion, definitely
What?
unnecessary.
Yeah, mostly all plates are. That's so stupid. You mentioned names, right? So I actually have a game for you if you want to play.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you the name of a real product,
Okay.
and I want you to tell me based on the name what you think it is. So these are absolutely real.
Okay. All right. I think
All
I
right.
follow.
Okay, so the first one, I want you to tell me what you think it is based on the name, and it's called the titty bear.
I'm
Okay,
sorry. What?
it's the titty bear, TIDDY. Okay, so that's important.
Okay. Titty bear. That, um, okay. To me, that sounds like maybe it's something for like moms who are lactating for comfort or support. But I'm having a hard time visualizing like what it looks like. Like, does it look like a bear? Does it look like a titty? I'm not really sure.
TIDDY. Okay, so no, you're not even close. The titty bear is this seatbelt cover in the shape of a bear to keep from the seatbelt scratching your chest. So it's this, and it's sad looking. Like that bear, they designed it to look disappointed because it's exactly what this product is. So, and if you watch the infomercial, it's like titty bear. That's TIDDY,
Wow. You know it's
and
bad when they have to elaborate on the
spell it out.
spelling.
Yeah. So not even close. Okay. The second one is called the comfort wipe.
Uh,
If you get this,
comfort
I'll
wipe.
be surprised.
I am first of all, I'm having a very hard time picturing any of these being advertised on TV. A comfort wipe. I would go with some kind of maybe it's like an aloe vera-esque like soothing wipe, kind of like a face mask, maybe, but you
Yeah, and
use
I'm gonna
it.
stop you. No, don't even. Yeah, you're not even close. So I'm just gonna stop you there. Okay, so comfort wipe. I can't believe these are real. You can buy these like for real. So It's like a plastic extension
Okay.
of your arm, essentially, where you put on one end of it, you put toilet paper to help you reach to wipe your
No,
butt.
no, 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 no,
Yes,
no,
yes,
no, no,
yes, yes,
no.
yes. This is a real thing.
Why
Who
would
named this?
you?
I,
Nope. How was that I don't want to know. I'll have to look that
I
up
feel like
later.
the only person that can actually make good use of that is a T-Rex who can't wipe their own butt.
Which they're extinct last time I checked. So I don't. Wow. And that was advertised on TV.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you can watch the infomercial online.
Wow.
It's like they create a problem that's not real.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I did not see that one coming.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay, last one, and this is called the Euro Club. That's URO Club.
Euro Club. I would think Euro Club. The spelling has me thrown, but I'm gonna go with maybe it's kind of like an at-home Zumba workout esque products like Euro Club. Like it's different. I'm just picturing like Swedish house music playing and people exercising like in their pajamas.
Yeah, it's not again, not even close. It's okay. This is probably the grossest of them all. So you know about golf enough to know that there are golf clubs, right?
Yes. My mom used to drag me to golf events. Again, story for a different day. But yeah, golf is painfully boring, but I'm not understanding what this could be.
Well, there are some people out there, maybe some older folks who have to pee often.
Okay. I'm one of those people. I can relate. I have a raisin sized bladder.
So this would be perfect. This You're dear audience. This is a club that opens up at the top to allow you to urinate
No,
in it so that you
stop.
can.
You're lying.
This is real. It's called the Euro Club, which I guess Euro is urology and
Ew.
just gross.
You
But
know,
these are real.
some
And clearly you would buy one
I would not buy one, but oh no, it's not that hard to find a bathroom. Animals,
or a tree.
yeah, but I feel like I wouldn't trust it. Does it leak? I don't. That
It's
seems,
gross. Ew.
yeah, I feel like some straight man invented that.
And
And
here we are.
wow, ew, that is gross. I think we need to delve into our list, sir.
Let's go straight into our top five as seen on TV products you always wanted. Do you have a number five that you want to share?
I will start, and I want you to know, Antonio, I based my list solely on what I felt like I've always needed in my life.
Okay.
So coming in at number five, this will be a throwback for some people. This was advertised heavily on Nickelodeon.
Ooh.
Um, and so it is a product called Muzzy, which used to start with this commercial of this small girl going, Je sais la jouvie. And what it was, Antonio, was a BBC language course for kids. It was four VHS tapes, um, that would teach your kid a different language. And this was like early mid 90s. So it wasn't even like, Spanish was being taught regularly in schools. It was like, learn a language for fun, not because, it's maybe the right thing to do or to culture yourself, learn about things. But yeah, it was this weird cartoon sort of like goblin-esque monster that would apparently teach you a different language. And I, as a kid, I wanted it.
Sounds terrifying.
I wanted to like live under the Eiffel Tower and write poetry. Again, story for another day. I have actual documentation of that. But yes, I wanted Muzzy so bad. And it wasn't even that good of a deal, Antonio. I went back and I watched the video, and it was 4 videos for $28.08 for 6 months.
That's expensive.
And I'm like, there's no way that 4 VHS tapes would teach you enough to be fluent in a language. There's no way.
No, yeah, not a shot. Like, not. I mean, you'd have to be extensively in there. And as a kid, like, you're not sitting there learning French.
Correct. And I mean, even think, a show like Dora the Explorer, right? Where it was, a half-hour show. It was on for years, but it would teach you a couple words here and there, but not enough to just submerge you in the culture. So for me, coming in at number five was Muzzy, because it would just start with this little white girl going, Je sais la jouvie. And then this older like woman would walk in and she'd be like, that's right, that's French she's speaking. And like, you can too. And I wanted this woman to walk into my house and declare that I'd be able to speak French too.
And it's also so American to point out what language she is speaking because we don't speak any other languages. So we have
Correct.
to it's like completely foreign to recognize even a French language. That's really funny. Okay, my number five is I mentioned it a little bit sooner earlier in the podcast, I should say, and that is ShamWow. I really always wanted ShamWow. I was always so impressed with the technology. At one point, he goes, and it's designed by the Germans, and they make good things. I'm like, starting at what
Yeah.
year? Because if we're
Yeah.
talking, you know, they do things well and not for the right reasons all the time. But for some reason, I'm like, yeah. And I remember it's like it can hold 10 times its weight in liquid. I'm like, so can I. Like I related to ShamWow so badly, and I didn't have much to clean, but I just was fascinated by how easily it could just wipe across. And then
Yes.
Vince, like, I feel like we're homies now.
That high energy. Yes. I also remember from those commercials, he would like spill soda on the carpet and then lift the carpet up to like prove to you that it sucked it up. And I remember thinking that that was definitely some voodoo witchcraft.
Yes. And I'm like, I want that voodoo witchcraft.
Wow.
And my favorite
That,
part is like with all of these, it's also like, oh, if you call now, because there's a woman waiting for you ordering within like
yeah.
10
How did they
minutes.
know? How did they
How did they know I
know?
was going to call within 10 minutes? We'll throw in another, pack of
ShamWow.
it. Just pay
Yeah.
separate shipping and handling. I'm like, why can't you just ship them together, fam? What a waste of
Yeah.
packaging.
It's a paper towel. How much does it cost to ship?
Yeah. Well, apparently
That's
it would save you
funny.
like $100 a month or something ridiculous. I'm like, what are people doing with their paper towels? But anyways, always
Exactly.
wanted a ShamWow. I still do, and that is my number five.
Wow. Well, my number four, again, this product is probably possibly a little bit in retrospect racist. But let me explain.
Okay.
So my number four, and again, this I think really speaks to how badly I wanted it. It was a product called Harigami. And so it was
Okay.
described as, first of all, a product for women with long hair or people with long hair. I shouldn't just say women, but it was only women in the video. But Harigami was this, it's described as hair sushi, Antonio.
What?
And it was
Hair
essentially,
sushi?
yeah,
That sounds so gross already.
was essentially a slap bracelet for your hair. And it was like, they would talk about wrap and snap, and it came with this 30-page glamour guide. And it looked a little bit like a torture device, but there was something about the commercial for me as this little gay boy that I was just enamored by the music and the clicking, almost kind of like ASMR. Like it was just oddly satisfying to me. And considering that I never had hair long enough to ever warrant me needing this product, that's
So
why
what were your plans with it?
I wanted someone I knew to have it because I wanted to play with it. There was something about the clicking and the snapping and the way that they just, they would be like, "Oh, do your prom hair in a snap," like as if anyone who would do that, or "Oh, your wedding in a pinch." Like, who's doing that? Who's the market here that was like, "Oh, I didn't know what I want to do with my hair for my wedding, so I just threw in a snap bracelet." And so it would just, to me, was something I always really wanted. In retrospect, the commercial's a little bit cringy. Like it is definitely very whitewashed, definitely pokes at, I think, different cultures. But to me, there was just something so magical about the product. Like I said, I never had, that's how you know a product is good, right? When you're like, I literally can't even use this, but I still want it. And I think a piece of it was, even in the music of the commercial, it was sort of this like house music clicking and snapping. And I don't know, I was
It sounds so
enamored by it.
unnecessary. Clearly, it's not that popular, but you wanted it.
I wanted it. So that for me is why it comes in at number four, because like I said, to me, I had no need for it, but I had to have it.
All right. So mine is not even close to your number four in technicality. I don't know. My number four again is for my man Vince, and that is the slap chop. I love and still till this day want slap chop. I feel like you can get your anger out on your food while also making it easier. And my favorite part is just the infomercial and how like I would want Vince from ShamWow to be my personal trainer because he knows how to
Yes.
offend you and build you up at the same time, which is what I need. He's just slap chopping everything and he,
Yeah.
like
They would like
insulting
cut
you.
mushrooms in that, right?
Yeah, and he'll be like at one point he says something like, "You love salad, but you hate chopping it. That's why you don't have salad in your diet." I'm like, "Okay, homie, don't come at me." Like I also
Like a personal attack like that.
yeah, but then I was like, you know what? You're kind of right. Like, what if I wanted salad? I hate chopping it. And he's like, "Don't be boring," and I'm like, "I don't want to be boring. I want to slap chop." And what was cool about this one was that if you ordered within 20 minutes, you got like a really cool like cheese grater that you twisted, and I was just fascinated with it every time. And like even till today, it is definitely something that I want.
I I remember the commercial definitely having high energy. I think there's always something to be said too about those like food based products, because you'd normally see them if you were hungry and you just start to drool. Like I remember Slap Chop, he would cut mushrooms and stuff and make these omelets. And as a kid, I didn't even really like omelets, but I was like, oh, maybe if I had a Slap Chop, I would.
Yes,
That is a
that's
great,
exactly how I feel.
good product choice, my friend. Good
All right.
product choice.
I'm gonna give you my number three now because that
Okay.
way, I feel like it's my turn to kind of go. And because it's on the food realm. Now, this is
Okay.
an absolute classic. Now, if anybody knows me, they know that, and you know this, Casey, I love to grill.
Yes.
And I think that this completely re-evolutionized grilling, and that is the Foreman grill. I never had one.
Wow.
Now
I
I
forgot
know,
about that.
dude, first of all, can we talk about the person who, like, Foreman was one of the greatest boxers, and he was like, "I'm gonna sell grills," but it was an ingenious grills. It helped college students across the globe live a better life because they can now grill indoors. And what I loved about it is that there was a healthier. It was like it absorbed the fat, or at least like it had like this the slide of
Ew, it
fat, the
had the
fat
little,
slide,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
which
yeah,
was
where it would just
gross.
collect and was gross to clean.
But you can make paninis. You could grill, and this is why it revolutionized it. So when you grill, you have to like flip over burgers and stuff. This you would
Mm,
press it so it would get evenly cooked on both sides. Like,
interesting.
like that's like a dream come true. And I've never had one, and I wish I did. And I just think that it was one of those things that was not. It was brilliant.
Well, and I think it's a testament to, again, how badly you wanted something, because right now you still want one, but you have a grill at your house. You don't need one, but you still want it. So I think that definitely speaks volumes to the product itself.
Yeah, and
Uh,
it's still going strong online, and I stand by my number three.
so my number three of definitely a fan favorite, definitely for the memorable commercial, but my number three is Flex Tape.
Ooh,
Um,
flex tape, yes.
Yes, which, is always described as, liquid rubber in a can or handyman in a can. And I mean, those commercials, Antonio, this man would be in a boat and the bottom of the boat was a screen door. And he would just spray it on the screen door. And then he's out there rowing a boat, living his best life. Like, get out of town.
He
Uh,
was at one point. He was also in that boat that was like cut in half and taped up, and I'm like, that's
yeah.
amazing.
Like, I feel like if he could have, he would have been in an airplane sawed in half and been like, oh, it works. Like, just to me, again, it's essentially just liquid rubber or whatever. But I, to be like, just, I remember he would literally in the commercial walk through a screen door and then it would zoom out and it was attached to a boat.
Dude, I also remember. Do you remember there was
Like,
like
talk
this?
about bet your life on that.
Oh, and I mean these spokespeople like really risked their lives. They're like true American heroes. And I remember in the commercial there was the big large tank with a huge hole in it, and then he would just take that flex tape and just slap the hell out of that tank like it would have
Yes, to
moved.
stop it. It's like that could have stopped the Titanic.
I'm like, yeah, if they had flex tape on the Titanic, 100% wouldn't have.
We'd be in a different world.
100, yeah, that movie would have never happened. I really appreciate your number three. All right. My
Tell me what
number
you got at number
two
two?
is a classic. Now, if you're listening to the sound of my voice out there, you are either someone who wants this or pretends that you don't want it. And that is a Snuggie.
Antonio, before you get started, let me just tell you your number two is my number one.
Yes. So you
Snuggie comes in it.
understand.
Yes. Who didn't want one?
Well, I was a hater at first. I'm like, that's stupid. When you really want something, but like, you're not
Yeah.
going to get it. So
You
you just talk crap about it the entire time.
exactly. You
Yeah.
downplay it.
Yeah, you down for you like that's stupid. But you think about it, when you're watching a movie with the blanket, how are you gonna eat popcorn and not be cold?
And popcorn is one of your favorite foods, but it's funny because and again, this is again, I think a testament to the product because it really, truly, truly is just a backwards robe.
It's a backwards rope. Yeah.
But who didn't want one? I remember in high school, I bought them for all my friends, like sort of as gifts. And deep down in my heart of hearts, I always wanted one. Never got one, still to this day. But I would be lying if I said I didn't want one. Do I have a need for it? No, I have a house full of blankets. But there's just something about, I crack up thinking about the commercial where the woman like drastically is having a hard time eating her popcorn and, she's flailing with the blanket and I love in the commercial, they show the family wearing them all at like a sporting event as if you would wear that out of the house. They look like monks, like, at a sporting event. Like
It looks
just
like you're at a
absolute.
church choir about to
Yeah, break it
praise the
down.
Lord. Yeah.
Break it down. So for me, I got to say Snuggie was my number one. So I can understand how you have it at number two.
What a
It
great
makes me
name
curious to
to
know.
Snuggie.
Yes. And I mean, a Snuggie has become part of pop culture. It's like,
100%.
I attribute the same word of snuggie as selfie as like some of these iconic things that exactly what it is.
I agree. All right, so now we know you're number one. So what is your number two?
So number two for me, again, another product I kind of always wanted, which might be interesting for folks at home to know, but I have to say my number two, Antonio, is the ped egg.
Oh my God. Wait, can you tell everyone what the pet egg is? This is an awesome but disgusting infomercial product.
And I can't believe TV was the chosen medium for this. Like if it was on radio, I could understand, but they chose to advertise this on TV. So essentially, and I'm going to describe it really badly, but the pet egg is a cheese grater for your foot. It's an at-home,
It's exactly what it is.
it's an at-home sort of massage tool that you use it, shaped like an egg. You would scrape your foot with it and it would collect the shavings. The commercial, it used to crack me up, Antonio. It would start out and be like, don't put sexy shoes on ugly feet. And it just shows these women like getting dressed up, standing next to a baby grand piano, as if that's where you put your shoes on in your house. And I just, one thing I always remember for the commercial was they would show them using the product on a balloon. They would scrape the side of a balloon to tell you that like it wasn't gonna pop, or which just what? Like who thought of that?
All right, full disclosure, and this is maybe TMI, and I don't care. I had that product, Casey, and it is as good as advertised. I always played sports, and let's be honest, your feet take a beating, and that helped to smooth out my calluses, and it was gross, but at the same time, like it was like so therapeutic, and I
Yes.
100% recommend it.
Well, and I feel like all infomercial products, they always like almost prey on like the lowest common denominator at times. Like, okay, that's a great example, Antonio, but in the commercial, it's all women. It's all
Yeah,
women
which
like
is it's not fair.
dressed. No, it's not dressed up like models. It would show them dumping out the shavings.
It's
Like
gross. It is gross though.
I can't believe TV was the chosen medium for that. Like who would do that? And I mean, it was described as being the foot grooming miracle. And
Which is
that
it
is why,
describes it really well. It's better than feet grater.
oh my gosh, yeah. Oh God. Yeah. I wonder what the backup names were for that before it was egg shaped. But
Yeah,
I have to say, I always, and still to this day, want a pet egg because I just thought it's kind of gross, but I don't know.
but it works. It
It's
really
self
does
care.
work.
It makes me feel good knowing it worked. And like I said, you could scrape the side of a balloon and it wouldn't pop.
It wouldn't
So
pop. Nope.
that
Correct.
is that's my list, sir. So I need to know what do you have coming in at number one?
Okay, so my number one, I also think is pop culture icon, and it's something until this day that I still really want. Never had it, but I do really want it, and that is a chia pet.
Oh wow!
And here's the thing. I know people
I can
think they're
hear it.
corny, but I really,
Chia.
yeah, like so clever. And I remember like they made a Barack Obama one. They like if you go on their website, they're just constantly updating it with like Bob Ross. They have a Baby
Looney
Yoda one.
Tunes.
And it's like a
Yeah.
little bush that just grows and it's so clever. And like I just think it's so freaking cool that you can grow that in your house and it just looks like one of your favorite things. And I think they're classic, they're timeless, and I
Yeah.
think as long as they keep changing the design, that it can be applicable to like any era.
Well, and there's a lot of plant moms and plant dads out there, so gardening is definitely a popular quarantine activity, and maybe some of our listeners will go home and buy a chia pet.
I would highly recommend it. Here's what I appreciate about these lists is that I now know what to get you for your birthday and Christmas for the next 5 years.
There you go. Although I think I'll pass on Muzzy because I don't have a VHS player anymore.
Well, that's fair. That's
Uh,
fair. But I'm getting you a pet egg for sure.
oh my gosh, I would be so overjoyed. So I'll have to do return the favor with the Barack Obama chia pet.
There it
But
is.
I need to know, sir, what anything in your honorable mention you want to bring up?
Yes. So one of them that I actually had pet egg on there. I had OxyClean. I had the Flex tape. So you did mention those. One though that I thought was really cool, and I don't know if you're gonna remember this. There was this dude. I think his name was like Tony or something, and he had like this long ponytail, and he would have this like exercise machine that is called the Gazelle 360. Y'all need to look it up, and it's like it basically feels like you're running but like your legs would move separately to your arms. I can't even describe it
What?
well. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, he was a creepy because he would sometimes go behind some of the women and do it with them. It was like really creepy. But I
Ooh.
was a kid, I didn't understand that stuff. But I was like, I want to exercise on that. It looked like so much fun. But obviously that was like a more expensive one. And
Wow.
and I had the Scrub Daddy, which is a Shark
Oh.
Tank, which I love Shark Tank. I got it once. I think I used it wrong. It's not as great as it looks, but it
It's
always
a
something I
sponge,
wanted.
isn't it?
Yeah, but
It's
it's
just a
like,
sponge with holes in it.
yeah, but like there's like a temperature thing. Like depending on what you're washing, it needs to be cold water. Hot. It's too much technical things. But I also think that like Scrub Daddy has like this weird sexual undertone to it that really makes me
Yeah,
uncomfortable.
a little bit. Yeah, again, the names of products always so interesting.
Like Scrub Daddy, ew. What
Yeah.
was on yours? What was your on your
So
honorable
a
mention?
couple honorable mentions I just want to bring up. This one was another popular one from when I was younger. It was Amazing Elastic Plastic, and the commercial would always start out and be, ordinary balloons go pop, but Amazing Elastic Plastic balloons do not. Essentially, it was just like plastic, moldable plastic that you could blow up, and it would come with these like weird jumping beans, and I had it
Wait,
as a kid. You know what I'm talking about?
yes, were they so it was it like this weird little gel, like this
Yes.
like putty looking thing that you put at the end of this like super tiny straw, and then you
Yeah.
blow it. I don't know if you've had them before, and then
I
like your
did.
cheeks would
Yeah.
go all like
Yeah, yeah,
sore,
yeah.
but they weren't better than balloons.
Yeah, well, in the commercial it would also go, just roll, stick, and blow. And I'm like, excuse me? What did you say? So that one was up there for me. I also had that product as a kid, and it definitely brought me a lot of joy. But my other honorable mention I have to bring up, I think we'd be remiss in talking about these products if we didn't shout out who could probably be Ronald Reagan's good twin, but Ron Popeil, who did the Showtime rotisserie, which was that set it and forget it.
Yes, what a classic. What a
Which, and again, in terms of kitchen-esque products, it's just really like an oven, little mini oven, whatever the case may be. And it was advertised for RVs and college dorms and all these things. But I remember it was like an infomercial, and it would be on, sometimes Saturday mornings before I'd catch cartoons. And there was just something so congenial about the guy. And I would just watch this meat spin for 30 minutes, and you'd be like, set it and forget it. And it was like, I couldn't cook, but as a little kid, I used to like think, I'm like, oh, if I like lived on my own, and again, I'm like 6 thinking that this is ever going to happen. I'm like, oh, I'm little and I need a little stove, like just absolutely bonkers. And he'd have weird, like it would be meat that I don't think even as a kid I ever ate. Like I wouldn't know what it was, but I was like, I want that. I want, he'd have 3 rotisserie chickens in there, and I'm like, why would you ever need to cook 3 rotisserie chickens, almost like in an easy bake oven? I don't know. To me, it was iconic.
Yeah, and I feel like it was such a specific product just for rotisserie chicken. Like you can go to Walmart and get a rotisserie chicken for like $3 rather than waiting 6 hours on this machine to make it. Actually, real funny story, Casey. I was in the middle. I was looking at Set It and Forget It because you mentioned Ronald Reagan, and I was trying to get like a visual of Ron Pompeo. Pale, what is his name? Pompeo.
Ron Popeil.
Popeil, whatever. And apparently there's an Urban Dictionary definition for it.
Uh-huh.
And it says to have sex with someone regardless of potential emotional consequences. And it says, I don't know, man. This is the example. I don't know, man. What if my girlfriend finds out? Dude, with her, you've just got to set it and forget it.
Oh
I feel like
no.
it's not even what the original person meant by that.
No, that's not
It's
okay.
awful. And I've also never heard anyone say it.
Yeah. Let's leave it up to the internet to ruin everything for everybody. But that's an interesting list we both got there, my friends. And
I
I
do.
think,
And I thought this was really fun because I think it was a little nostalgic. It made me think about those late nights that I just couldn't sleep and would watch these like
yes,
30-minute infomercials about these ridiculous products. And I don't know, there was something like a real nice simplicity to it that in these times I definitely appreciated.
it was fun. And I say, if anyone needs a laugh at home, and maybe you do, Google some old as seen on TV commercials. There's some that you might have forgotten that might make you chuckle or might make you think, oh, it's good to laugh. And so I would definitely check them out. I think it's safe to say, Antonio, we can remain friends.
I think so. I feel like this again brought us closer.
There you go. And I have to say, it was really, 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 I had a lot of fun with this one. And, definitely might see some of these things pop up under your Christmas tree this year.
Let's see. Absolutely. You at least know what we want as a gift. And we do appreciate you listening once again to the Enlisted podcast. Again, folks, my name is Antonio Talamo.
And my name is Casey Coleman.
Follow us here every week for another top 5 list. Peace.
Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Enlisted Podcast. Want more of these podcasts? Be sure to click the subscribe button and leave us a review with a suggestion of what you'd like for us to debate next. Until next time.